Hello, everyone. Welcome again. Thanks for joining us today's session. For today, we're going to start off by quickly essentially presenting the Velixo tool. Right after that, I'll give you a little bit of history about the company, how it came to life, what is the problem that we address, how do we solve it. Right after that, it is going to be followed by a live demo of the tool. And right after that, we're going to host a mini Q&A session to answer any questions you might have regarding the tool. We're going to be in, I would say, for about a 20 to 25-minute presentation. So do not hesitate to input your questions in the chat or the Q&A section while I'm moving along with the presentation. And I'll be sure to take a quick look at it right after the demo time. All right, let's kick it off. So to begin with, what is Velixo? Velixo is just an Excel add-in that serves as a live and bidirectional connector between Excel and Acumatica. So in other words, it will empower you to effortlessly export all the data that is in Acumatica in live, this is an important piece, to Excel, kind of perform your magic on Excel, and once it's done, you can seamlessly push that data back to Acumatica if necessary. Now, for the little story, we were founded in 2017 by Velixo, who is the next Acumatica leader that saw the opportunity to build the Velixo tool as an Excel add-in as he witnessed that so many users kept going back to Excel for their reporting needs. Fast forward a couple of years, we were awarded top application in the Acumatica ecosystem, and were awarded G2 most likely users to recommend by G2. Last year only, we were able to onboard a little bit more than 700 new customers from the Acumatica ecosystem alone, and we currently work with a little over 200 VARs that implement and support the Velixo solution. Now, what is the problem that we address? Well, we are delving into the problem with manual spreadsheets, and the problem with manual spreadsheets resolves to a few issues. First thing first, it's a completely disconnected experience, and data becomes obsolete the second you export it to Excel. And for this reason, it cannot be trusted anymore. Okay? On top of that, it becomes incredibly repetitive and time-consuming to produce those reports, as you're going to have to go through that manual export of the data, clean it in your spreadsheet, and so on and so on. And we all know this process is incredibly error-prone, and governance issues can happen as it can get challenging to manage data security for your whole team. And lastly, changes made to that data on your spreadsheet would only be transferable to Acumatica by manually entering it, which is highly inefficient. Okay? Now, how do we solve this problem? Introducing to you the Velixo add-in. Okay? So our add-in can be installed and configured to connect to Acumatica within minutes. Okay? So no implementation required, nothing of that nature. I'll walk you through the installation process in a minute. It offers real-time reporting capabilities with the full exploration of Excel and Acumatica capabilities as well. And on top of that, it comes with samples to get you started. Okay, so you're going to have pre-built templates that you can use as a plug and play. It allows you to write data back to Acumatica, as I mentioned, pretty seamlessly for scenarios like budgeting, forecasting, journal entries, and any other type of data that you're looking to write back to your Acumatica instance. It's fully self-service. It won't require much training to master it, thanks to our native Excel-like functions. And lastly, it's Excel. So users benefit from the whole Microsoft 365 suite for better collaboration and automation overall. Now, here's a nice little slide to kind of close it off. These are some of our happy customers. I don't know if we have any fans in the audience, but KFC was actually our very first customer, KFC France. Now, with that being said, I'll stop sharing this PowerPoint deck, and let's get going with the live demo. So, again, as I mentioned earlier, this is just an Excel add-in that serves as a live and bidirectional connection between Excel and Acumatica that doesn't require any implementation or anything of that nature. So, of course, no cost associated with it either. So, to get it going, you can add it directly from your Excel homepage by using the little add-in section right here. So, you click on add-ins and then use the search bar to look for Velixo. If you can't find it, simply click on more add-ins, and that should do the trick. Press the add button, and then you're going to notice this new Velixo icon here on your home screen. Okay, so again, The installation process is very swift and easy, and it looks like adding any other Chrome extension to your browser. I'm thinking about a pop-up blocker, for example, which is probably the most common one. So again, once you've gone through the process, you'll notice the Velixo icon on your home screen, as well as the Velixo tab right here on the ribbon. Now, if I click on the tab, you'll notice we've added multiple features to Excel, with one of them being the ability to drill down, for example. Okay, this is a pretty powerful feature, especially for scenarios where we're going to require to do some reconciliation. Okay, and we've added about 90 Velixo formulas. So if I click on the little FX right here, insert a function, and then I use the drop down towards the end, you'll notice we've added this Velixo section right here. So this is where all the Velixo formulas live. Formulas are kind of broken down by topic. So you're going to have your financial formulas to query the finance module and go ahead and build any type of financial statements. You're going to have your project modules to go ahead to project functions to go ahead and query the project module to build any project management reports, meaning whips, custom completes, anything of that nature. You're going to have, again, your generic inquiry formulas to go ahead and query any other module that lives inside of your Acumatica instance. Now, I really wanted to start with a blank spreadsheet for you guys to get the dynamics behind the tool, understand how the formulas execute, what do they look like, and so on and so on. But yeah, so I'm going to start off right now with a blank spreadsheet by, we're going to build a quick trial balance, and we'll run a consolidation, or we'll calculate the variance or something of that nature. Again, the idea here is just for you to get the dynamics behind it. But by any means, you will not need to go through this process of building reports every single time. You're going to need to use the Velixo tool. All right, let's get going. So before I'm going to be able actually to start building any type of reports here on my spreadsheet, I'm going to need to set up that connection between Acumatica and Excel. Okay, so to do so, I'll use the connection manager on the top left corner right here. Click on it. It opens up a connection manager pane on my right. And then I'll simply click on add a connection. I am already connected, so I'll simply walk you through the process. First thing first, it is going to prompt me to pick a name for my connection. Always try to keep this one short because you're going to have to reference it in the Velixo formulas. It's going to make a little bit more sense in about 30 seconds. Next, you're going to need to specify your URL, which you can simply copy and paste from your Acumatica login page right here. Okay? And next, you're going to need to specify a tenant. So in my demo instance, I do have a multi-tenant setup. Okay, I'm going to start by connecting the first one, company. I'll specify my URL, tenant, and in here, you'll input the exact same credentials you would input to log in into your Acumatica instance right here. And it's built this way because we're automatically going to mirror the exact same level of security set up in the Acumatica Active Directory, so we don't have to worry about data governance and security issues overall. Now, I was asking you, or I was referring to the multi-tenant setup in my demo instance, and it's for a reason, essentially. Okay, so if I have multiple tenants in my demo setup, means that I can always go back to my connection manager and add multiple connections right here to connect my other tenants. Okay, how would I do it? Simply click add, and then go ahead, reference the same URL, and reference your other tenants. This is going to be very solid for scenarios where you're going to require to consolidate data between multiple tenants. Now, for this demo, I'll only work with one. Let's move forward with our trial balance. So we're going to need our accounts, their names, and balances. By the way, just a quick heads up, please do not mind any typos on this trial balance, as I'll just try to build a quick thing on the fly to drive the concept home. Now, to pull my chart of accounts, I'm going to use one of those financial formulas that we've put into a button right here called Insert Chart of Accounts. Now, essentially, if you look at the formula box, this is what we're executing right now. Expand account range from my demo instance. Okay, so if you remember, in the connection manager, I named the connection demo. Okay, I could have named it DSD, for example, if I wanted to keep things simple. Now, to put my account names, I'm going to use another Velixo formula, which is called account name. There's two things that you'll notice as I'm moving along with building this trial balance. First thing first, our formulas are Excel-like formulas, okay? And you'll always have this little window help that pops up, kind of acting as your coach here, prompting you to input your next step. So from here, I'll input my connection name, which is obviously demo, and then I'll specify my account. For this example, I'll just specify the whole set. And you'll also notice that formulas are pretty straightforward. So putting the account name is called account name. Pulling the balance is going to be called either account beginning balance or account ending balance. Pulling the turnover is going to be called account turnover, and so on and so on. So the idea here is that it's really going to be hard for you to go ahead and pick the wrong formula for the type of data that you're looking to query. This is pretty straightforward. And second piece is that all reports that you build here on Excel using the Velixo tool will always showcase dynamic information. Meaning, if I go back to Acumatica into my chart of accounts, okay, right here, and I change one of my account names. Let's say I want to call this one Petty Cash DSD. As soon as I get back to my workbook and I press the refresh button right here, the name change reflects right here. Now, to pull my balance, I'm going to need to add a few additional parameters, such as financial period and a location. Or let me do, sorry, ledger and financial period. I could refine by branches, by sub-accounts, but just to keep the example short, I'll stick to the essentials for now, okay? And I'll be sure to highlight a little bit more complete example in a few minutes. Now, let's work with our actual ledger. And let's do 11-2020. Now, again, as I mentioned, to pull my balance, I'll do account ending balance. And from here, I'll simply follow my coach's instruction. So again, my connection name, demo. I'll specify my ledger. I won't use account class, but I'll use account instead. I'll skip sub-account, I'll skip branch, and I'll specify my financial period. By the way, if you ever need help with any of the formulas, or if you're wondering which parameters are optional, which one are required in order to execute the formula, you can always press the little help section right here to open our knowledge base. Alternatively, you can do it directly from the little window help right here and press the hyperlink. And it opens kind of a little cheat sheet that is available for every single formula. So on these cheat sheets, you're going to be able to find help regarding the syntax, parameters, which one are required, which one are optional, a description per parameter to help you locate it inside of Acumatica. As you can see for this formula, for example, sub-account and branch are optional parameters. That's why I'm skipping them, and my formula will execute either way. And of course, 2 to 3 examples to help you pick it up a little bit more faster. Now, on the same knowledge base, if you click on the Acumatica space, you're going to find a lot of useful resources. First thing first, a recap to all of the formulas, again, broken down by topics, so financial functions, listing functions, and so on and so on. You're going to find very useful tutorials and how-to guides. And most importantly, you're going to find a solid set of templates right here, going from financial templates to inventory management templates that are available free of charge that you guys can use as a plug-and-play. Now let's execute this formula right here. And I'll quickly format it to daughter just to make it look like a proper trial balance. All right, just give it a second to load. There you go. Now, let's say from here, you want to compare 2 different ledgers. Okay, simply copy and paste your formulas to the side and change parameters. So maybe you want to put your actual versus your budget. And there you go. My column is updating in real time. Perfect. Now, of course, same thing applies for financial period. Let's go back to actual. Let's put 2 financial periods against each other. Just have to remove the dot right here. And there you go. Now, let's say you want to know the variance between the 2 financial periods. All you need to do in this case is a subtraction, which is a simple Excel formula. But the idea here is just to highlight that all of the Excel functionalities and features will continue perfectly fine. And that's actually going to be very solid for scenarios where you're going to require to do some budgeting, forecasting, and stuff like that. Okay. And even, not even talking about the technical aspect of it, you can even benefit from basic Microsoft features, such as setting up drop-down lists from the data tab, or even just leaving comments for your colleague. I don't know, maybe I want to have my VP double check this figure. I can simply click on the cell and input a comment to him saying, hey, Duffy, would you mind please check in these figures for me? And so on and so on. X. Now, last piece that I want to show you here before we move on to the next thing is a nice little way we came up with for you to group your accounts. Okay. So again, I'll just copy and paste formulas into these cells. Okay. And if I click on any random cell and I hover over the error message, it says at least one of the arguments is required, account or account class, meaning I have now to specify a set of accounts in my cell A6. Okay. So I can either pull for a list by account 10100, 10200, and 15300. Let's go a bit further. There you go. Now you can also prompt it to do a range, not necessarily a list. So from 10100 up to 15300. And you can also use wildcards. Okay, so let's say you want to pull for all of the accounts starting with 11. Simply complete the number of digits with question marks. And you have the option to exclude as well. Let's say you don't want 11500, simply type minus 11500. By the way, I've just used these technique with numbers because essentially we are computing accounts. But of course, it would work for sub-accounts as well. Even for sub-accounts that are using a combination of letters and numbers, it will work for account classes, account groups, all of it, even inventory line items. Now, before we get into the next part of the presentation, just a reminder, if you guys have any questions so far, please feel free to input them in the chat, and I'll be sure to take a quick look at them in a few minutes. All right, so I am actually currently on a sample pack that is available on our knowledge base. You know, this little space I was showing you about the templates earlier. So if you click on financial templates or even demo templates, you're going to be able to find this folder. This is the one I'm using right now. So on this folder, you're going to find a standard P&L. Again, all reports are built in a dynamic fashion, meaning you can use the drop-down list right here to toggle between your branches. As you can see, I'm currently on a consolidated view. I can click on a specific branch, for example, my Western branch. And as you can see, my P&L is currently updating in real time. It will even go ahead and hide the 0 rows automatically for me. Okay, you have the option to disable it if that's what you're looking for. So it has that standard P&L, a consolidated one, put in branches side by side, a trailing one, put in financial period side by side, relatively simple dashboard. Just to remind you that you can have your Acumatica dashboard update based on Excel, Velixo Excel-based reports, cash flow statement, proper trial balance, and cash flow forecast template, and so on and so on. Now back to this P&L, okay? If I click on the little plus to enhance the structure behind it, you'll notice that in order for us to pull our revenue or our sales, okay, we've listed our income account classes right here, okay? So this here is the exact same technique that I've used right here by computing accounts, okay? As you can see, to pull our cost of goods sold, we are using again that wildcard technique. And in here, to pull our operating expenses, we are simply individually listing account groups. Now, if I click on any random cell, let's say, for example, this one, service and utilities, you'll notice that we are using that account turnover formula right here. And this formula kind of follows the exact same structure as the account ending balance right here, okay? You'll probably notice that in this formula, I'm leaving a lot of blank spaces between the two commas. If I click on any random one, as you can see, this was the spot to input a branch filter, okay? On this P&L, we are filtering out based off branches, okay? I could have simply inscribed the name of my branch right here in the formula, and it would have recognized it. But instead, we chose to go for a little bit more elaborate way, if I could call it this way. And we did set up all our branches in the drop-down list right here, as I showed you a minute ago. And every time I toggle between my branches using the drop-down list, what it does is that it changes that specific branch inside my formula right here, okay? And as soon as I toggle on the drop-down list right here, it leads to a recalculation or a recomputing of all the formulas, which is essentially sourcing a new P&L for me. Now, what I want to show you here is the drill down functionality. So let's say you want to know what is this number made of, your total expenses. You can simply click on the cell and then click on drill down right here up top. And it is going to open a new sheet for you, listing all the transactions involved in that number. There you go. So from this sheet, you already have a solid picture. Okay, you can check the description, to which account this transaction is assigned, under which sub-account and department, if any, branch, and you even have a little bit more in the numbers view right here. Now, let's say you want to dig even further, okay? So let's pick on this travel expense right here. You can click on View Transactions, and it will automatically open Acumatica for you on that actual transactions page. There you go. Now, earlier on my spreadsheet, I was seeing that was a travel expense in my description. Acumatica's description is a little bit more elaborated. I can see that this was one night at the Hilton, okay? And from here, it's Acumatica, so you guys probably know about it. But if you click on the reference number, you're going to be able to go ahead and dig even further to open the actual invoice related to this transaction right here. So this is how far you can go with the drill down functionality. I've just executed it on a financial statement in the P&L, but this drill down functionality will work on any given report that is using Excel formulas. Meaning, if you build a project management report, it will go ahead and drill down to your cost codes or your tasks. If you do it on, I don't know, an ad hoc report, maybe I'm thinking about inventory reports, it will go ahead and drill down into your inventory line items, and so on and so on. So if anyone's curious about the drill down feature or want to learn a little bit more about it, just let me know and I'd be more than happy to discuss the feature. Now, next piece is the distribution list. So distribution list is a pretty powerful feature. It will allow you to either distribute your reports internally or externally from a single template. This one right here. So from this template, you'll have the option to select first thing first under which format you want to share your reports. So Excel, you can choose to remove the Velixo formulas in case you're sharing with somebody that does not have access to Velixo. You can choose to remove all formulas in case you're sharing with somebody that does not have, again, access to the Velixo tool. File name, self-explanatory. You can simply name your report in here. Tab selection. In here, essentially, you're prompted to select which sheets from this workbook you want to share with this specific contact. If you just leave it empty, it will share the whole workbook. Folder path, if you're using a cloud saving solution, such as SharePoint, OneDrive, wherever it may be, you can simply input the folder path in here, and it is going to save it into that space. And from here, relatively simple. So email, contact, subject, body, and you're good to go. Now, let's assume everything's correct. Okay, you can simply click on distribute all, and it is going to kick off the distribution process using your Outlook email addresses. Okay, and it will use the exact same email address you are using to connect or to log in to Excel itself. Now, there's a lot more to this feature. For example, you can have, for example, the distribution process automated using Task Scheduling Manager if you're sharing reports on a recurring basis. You can even have them update automatically before they are being sent out. You can send the same report to multiple contacts without creating a separate line for every single one of them, and so on and so on. So again, as I mentioned, interested in learning a little bit more about it, just let me know and we'll take it further. Now, next piece is reporting on generic inquiries. Okay, so far, let me run a quick recap. We've mainly used or computed the financial formulas to build this trial balance right here. Okay, and again, I always like to put or to emphasize on the fact that I've built this trial balance on the fly. Okay, it took me I don't know, maybe 5 minutes. If I wasn't explaining, it would have took me way under 2 minutes. And the good news is I do not need to build this trial balance anymore. Okay, it's ready. I can simply close my workbook. And next time I need it, I'll simply open that file, press the refresh button, and I have access to the most recent data directly from Acumatica. Even if new accounts are added to your chart of accounts, they will automatically populate. Now, as I mentioned, we mainly covered those financial formulas that we've used essentially to build that trial balance, communicating mainly with the finance module. Project formulas follow the exact same dynamics, but for the project module, for you to build, again, WIPs, cost completes, project estimates, anything of that nature. And GI formulas will allow you essentially to query data from any of the modules that live inside of your Acumatica instance. Okay, matter of fact, let's run a quick test. So if I click on sales orders right here, there you go. You're going to be able to spot a Velixo button inside the Acumatica instance. Now, if you don't have this Velixo button, no sweat. You can easily have it by downloading and publishing customization packages. Takes less than 2 minutes. I'd be more than happy to walk you through the process as well. And the DSD team is very familiar actually with downloading and publishing these customization packages. Now, let's say I go back to inventory purchases or even AP bills, okay? Again, I'm going to be able to spot this Velixo button. And on every single page where you spot this Velixo button, it means you're going to be able to go ahead and execute that GI formula. Matter of fact, this Velixo button is just a shortcut to that formula I'm going to execute right now. I'll do it the manual way just for you to get the dynamics behind it. But of course, down the line, if you just prefer to press that Velixo button, you can go for it, no limitations at all. So here, I'll do GI for generic inquiry, right? And you'll notice we have GI filter, GI lookup. I'll be sure to use one of them in a second. And from here, again, I'll follow the coach's instructions. So my connection name, demo, and my inquiry name, AP goals and adjustments, okay? So I hope you get the dynamics here. If I was trying to pull something else from AP bills and adjustments, I would simply replace that name. Meaning, if I want to pull ARs, invoices, and memos, I would just inscribe AR, invoices, and memos. Inventory, receipts, and so on and so on. Now, what it is going to do, there you go, it will export all of the columns that live inside of this Acumatica page. There you go. So all the columns have been exported to Excel. Not in the exact same order, but all of the columns are there. Up until this point, it looks similar. It looks like you clicked on that export to Excel button. So I would call it same, but very different, okay? So the process you would go through right now, once you've clicked on that export to Excel button, is that you would probably manually delete columns this way in order to clean your report a bit and start working on the data that you're looking for. Now, instead of doing this, which is going to kill the dynamic aspect of your report and force you to build it from scratch every single time, what you want to be doing instead is getting back to your formula and edit it. So I'll go to the select spot and select which columns I want to keep. So I only want to keep my vendor column, date, let's do a status, and currency. Okay, so it was lightning fast, but I'll ask to see if you noticed it. It erased all of the columns in the first place and then went ahead and pulled these 4 columns from scratch that I prompted in my Velixo formula. Okay, now I can filter through this information as well. Okay, but again, instead of using the local Excel filtering techniques, what you want to be doing instead is setting up a dynamic filter. So let's say I only want to pull my transit vendor and transactions under an open status. So I'll get down here and I'll do GI filter. And from here, I'll simply follow my coach's instruction again. So I'll do my connection name, my inquiry name, and now I'll specify my criteria. So I want vendor to be equal to whatever is in this cell. And I want status to be equal to whatever is in this cell right there. And there you go. My filter is ready. Now, if I go back to my initial formula right here, vendor, you'll notice I left a blank space between the 2 commas right here. If I click on it, the coach says it's the spot to input my filter. So I'll just input my filter here and execute. There you go. Now, if I change any of my parameters, my report updates in real time. Okay, so now you can have an AP report. I know this is not what you're looking for, just an example to drive the concept home, but you have a template that is ready-made. You do not need to export that data anytime you need it anymore. You can simply save this workbook. Once you need it, you open it, press the refresh button, and you're good to go. So if you have any questions, if you're curious about the GI formulas or about the other use cases, please go ahead and submit your questions, and I'll be sure to cover it with you guys. Now, last piece, which is going to take us about 2 to 3 minutes max to cover, are the writebacks. Okay, so there are 4 different types of writebacks. Writebacks allow you to push data back from Excel to Acumatica. Okay, you can push back, as I mentioned earlier, journal transactions. You can push back a budget. You can push back a project progression, or you can use universal writeback. This one you can literally just view it as an import. Matter of fact, I have a little example that I always like using. So these GI formulas right here allow you to go ahead and export any type of data from any of these modules from Acumatica to Excel in live. Well, universal writeback, you can simply view it as the other side of the same coin. Okay, so universal writeback will allow you to push back any type of data from Excel to any of those Acumatica modules. Now let's look at the first one. So same concept as for the distribution list. If I click on it, a template opens up, a default template. Click on it. And for the sake of this example, we're going to execute right back from this one right here, okay? Just because it's already filled out again. So I know the two templates look a bit different, so I'll explain the dynamics behind it, okay? So for now, let's forget about the table. We'll look at the blue boxes only. So on the blue boxes, you have essential parameters for Velixo to assess where it's writing back to which connection, aka which tenant, to which branch, to which ledger, which currency, and so on and so on. Now, if you look at this example, here are the blue boxes. They are just outlined in a different manner. Now, if you look at the table itself, you've got your branch, account, sub-account, debit, and credit. These were some project accounting columns. So if you do not deal with project accounting, you can simply pitch them out, which is exactly what we did here. So here are our journal entries. You can simply assume my generate here is 3.3. I'll change it and perform right back. All right, let's just give it one more second. Perfect, there you go. So again, same thing. As soon as it's ready, it opens Acumatica automatically for me, prompting me to double check my journal entries. So now I can revise everything. If it looks good, I can simply click on remove hold and release to officially save it or to kind of officially post it to Acumatica. Now, budget write back works with the same dynamics as well as project write back. Let me show you quickly the budget write back one. So it will have the blue box concept, okay? And this table right here, you can customize to budget on literally anything that you want, okay? The idea is that you're going to be able to use the Velixo formulas, as you can see right here, to dynamically pull all of your prior year actuals or your historical data directly from Acumatica. Once you have that historical data on your spreadsheets, you can now work on creating some what-if scenarios, okay? Mixing the Velixo along with the Excel formulas to budget or to forecast on upcoming periods. And once this is ready, perform right back, and your budgets are being pushed back to Acumatica. So just as a recap, journal write back will write back to this page right here, journal transactions. Budget write back will write back to this page right here, budgets. To release them, a bit different. You'll simply click on release budgets. And you're going to find everything that you've been pushing back from Excel to Acumatica. Now from here, you can select which budgets you want to release or simply release them all. And as I mentioned, project write back works with the exact same dynamics. If we have any project-based company in the audience today, we do have some really nice project management templates coming up. So if you want to learn a little bit more about it, just let me know, and I'd be more than happy to have a one-on-one session with you. Now, universal write back, last one. It populates a pane on my right, prompting me to select an import scenario, okay? So as I click through the list, you'll notice that you can create an import scenario for literally anything. So AR invoices, payments, bonds, customers, opportunity, exchange, literally anything, okay? And if you're looking to work with an import scenario that you don't have yet, it's fairly simple to just go ahead and create one. So that's pretty much about it for the main features of the Velixo tool. There are, again, multiple use cases for this tool, such as, for example, setting up Excel and Velixo as a CPQ tool. There's a multi-currency reporting example. I mean, the use cases are pretty much unlimited. So if there are any that you're looking to explore, just let me know and we'll do a one-on-one session. Now, I wanted to show you, or I wanted to tell you about our available training options, okay? So we do have a Velixo Academy, which is essentially learning.velixo.com. And on this platform, you're going to be able to find all types of content, okay? So you're going to find those pre-recorded videos that you can watch and kind of take a quiz after it to double check your knowledge. But most importantly, you're going to find a set of live sessions with Harry on the screen right here. So these are live sessions that are kind of broken down by level. It goes from level 1 up to level 3, covering from the most basic features up to the most advanced ones. And yeah, I actually highly recommend taking those classes. Very, very informative and insightful. Now, we're going to quickly wrap up this demo session and we'll see if you guys have any questions. Before we do so, just wanted to remind you guys that everybody who's attended today's session is eligible to a 15-day free trial. Okay, so make sure you register to that 15-day free trial to get advantage of it and start getting your feet wet with the Velixo tool. If you have any questions that come up during your trial period, or if you're unsure about anything, just let me know. By the way, to kick off your trials, you can simply either directly get in touch with me or with Tamara, and we'll get that going for you guys. And special incentive from the DSD team. If any of you is interested in moving forward inside of that trial period, it comes with a very, very special 3-year incentive. Again, this is not a commitment, just a 3-year incentive.
Well, perfect. Thank you so much, Hamza, for that great presentation and demo. We are at the top of the hour, so if you do have any questions, you're more than welcome to reach out to us. And thank you again, Hamza, for your participation today. And thank you so much for all of you joining us. We appreciate your time and look forward to connecting with you again soon.